Okay, let's officially start our live webinar. The Agile Breeze. One second. Yeah, let's officially start our live webinar on applied project manager essentials, portfolio, schedule, cost, and drive decisions. Uh, before we get started, the quick ground rules. Use the chat for networking. Share your thoughts and post any of your questions in the chat. We will take them during the dedicated Q&A sessions. And if you provided your PMI correct while registrations, you will be receiving one PDU after a week. If you would not get a PDU after a week, please write an email to events@pmi_pcc.com. We encourage you to open discussions, but keep comments respectful on the topic. So today's session is all about applied PM essentials, portfolio schedule, and cost that drives decisions. Uh, and now it's time to introduce our powerhouse speaker of the day, Suresh. Uh, Suresh Adpalli is an international delivery leader at a Patriot Industrial Partners, an advisory firm specializing in the aerospace and defense sector. A program manager with 20 years of experience across aerospace and consumer IoT. He also serves as a membership at PMI Pearl City Chapter Hyderabad. He holds an MBA from IIM Karur and credentials including PMI, PMP, Six Sigma Black Belt, and SAFE, PO, and PM. Suresh is known for moving complex multi-stakeholder programs from concepts to measurable value at speed. Over to you, Suresh.
Thanks, Rasagna. Good morning, everyone. So before we get started, I want to ask a few questions to everybody. Okay. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? Can
Yeah.
you define what is project management? You can unmute or put it in the chat. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Suresh. Yes, we are able to see you, listen you, and see you.
Okay. Define project management. Yeah, this is not going to be a one-way dialogue, guys. So be prepared to respond, answer. Try it
I
in
think
one word if you can. You don't need to give a big explanation. Just
It is an integration of resources, schedule, cost, and other factors.
okay. I see few in the chat. It's planning, organizing a task, a specific task, project is activity with a defined outcome, a temporary endeavor. Yeah, I know. You guys are, some of you are defining what is a project. I'm not asking what is a project. I'm asking what is project management. Okay, somebody says
May
science of
I?
value delivery. Okay, is it just only a science?
Project management is everything, Suresh. Okay, so we
Yeah.
cannot actually define to a specific thing. Okay, it's not. I would not say like whoever defines it might be like 50% will be valid, but there is no end to it. Okay, you
Okay,
have
so I see
to.
some say science, some say art. Okay, value. Yeah, so if I have to define project management in short, it's a combination of art and science at a very broad level. And if I have to go further, I would call it as a craft. So what is the definition of a craft? The only way to master any craft is by doing it, right? So that's what project management is. So it's like a craft. Now the next question is, so what do project managers do? And the pictures are meant to disguise. Okay, they are like a decoys. They're not the answer. Don't go by that picture.
Make
So what do
schedules
project managers do?
make schedules and see that schedules are getting stick to.
Okay, schedules. Okay, what else? Define, measure, monitor, control, plan, organize, control. Okay, what else? Plan, execute, track, deliver. Okay. Devi, you raise your hand.
Yeah. So project managers are the people who are responsible for the project. So
Mm-hmm.
starting from initiation, execution, and monitoring, and until the end, these are the people who are responsible for making sure the project delivers with the right resources, maintaining the scope, and the whole three things. So yeah, they are responsible for delivering the project.
Okay. Anything else? Yeah, so what you guys said is absolutely right. Okay, I'm not denying that. All you said is absolutely right. But if I have to put everything into very broad perspective, I would call this as project managers solve problems, right? Problem solving is the primary responsibility of project managers. So you either solve the problems yourself or you facilitate those problem solving with the team, either way. So you are responsible for solving problems.
Yeah, and also defining the strategy for implementation in terms of embedding the 15 high impact knowledge areas.
I mean, that gets to the execution part of it, right? So you're trying to solve a problem, and there you are applying all those 15 execution areas, knowledge areas to solve the problem. So the last question, at the end of the day, now how do project managers execute? That means how do project managers solve the problems? How are project managers different? Anybody can solve a problem, right? But how are project managers different? So how do project managers solve these problems? Okay, some say tools and techniques.
With a
Okay.
good communication.
Understand.
Communication, strategic planning, collaborative methods, monitor. Okay. Follow methodologies and processes, interpersonal skills. Okay. Outcomes, listen, understand. Okay. All right. So again, all about whatever you said, everything is right. It's not bits and pieces is what we covered. But again, at a broad level, if you see, right, at a broad level, what project managers do is they apply science and bring structure to the problem solving, right? So that's the primary difference as anybody else to a project manager. The project managers brings in the science and the structure along with the art part of it, obviously, because the communication, stakeholder management, all those things are like power skills, which are anyway important. But primary thing our project managers do is the bring in the strengths and the structure to the problem solving. So today, what we are going to be seeing is fairly fundamentals of project management. I would say the science part of it. Okay, so how you present it, how you communicate, all those things again is a separate art. But today, what we are going to learn is the basics, fundamentals, the science that is involved in the project management. So with that said, so let's get to this. Can I have a volunteer to read this for me, please?
May I?
Yeah, go ahead, anybody.
Okay. Alpha Solution has set a budget of $1 million for their development projects. They would like to invest this money in different projects and get maximum returns. They expect projects from customer one, give them $0.1 per dollar invested. Customer two gives 0.12 per dollar invested. Customer three gives 0.08 per dollar invested. Sustenance no returns. Each project is expected to consume $50K per C1 and 60 for customer 2 and 45 for customer 3. Sustenance is 25K. For the existing contracts and strategic reasons, company must execute at least 3 projects for customer 3 4 projects for customer 1, and customer 2 cannot provide more than 5. Sustenance projects cannot be ignored and must be at least 4. Maximize the return.
Okay, so how do we solve this problem? So somebody who's managing a portfolio of projects, right? So where you have to prioritize which one to take up, which one not to take up, right? So this is a classic problem that you will run into, especially when you're doing the yearly planning, yearly budgeting. So these kind of scenarios do come in. So how do you solve this problem? So how do we maximize ROI? So tell me, based on this, tell me how many projects you will do for customer 1, tell me how many projects you will do for customer 2, customer 3. Calculate the rate of return, better risk management. Okay. So how do you calculate the return? IRR, NPV. Yeah, IRR, NPV, roughly you are given, right? $10, 10 cents per dollar invested, 12 cents per dollar invested, 8 cents per dollar invested. So I think you already have those IRR, NPV, payback period is pretty much clear. So that's already there at a broad level, that's already defined. Okay, EMV, okay. So let me ask you a question. So during, I mean, assuming most of your engineers, so during your engineering days, have you guys learned about operations research, linear programming, operations research? End value management, end value management comes at the later level, right? Now here we are defining at a strategic level, portfolio level, you are trying to make a decision. Okay, so we can use, again, whatever we are going to do is using simply Excel. There are a lot of fancy tools which you can leverage. However, I'm not displaying or using any of those tools because Excel is something that's pretty common. Everybody has access to it and you can apply. And if you really want, you can actually open the Excel while we do it in live. Okay, and you can do it yourself also along with me. So let's just do it simply. We'll do so let's prepare a simple table. Customer 1, customer 2, customer 3, sustenance. We know for return per project, we know the numbers as we defined in the problem statement, right? And cost per project, we know. Now we know the return. So return is basically for every project you execute, you get a certain amount of it back, like 10%, 12%, 8%. Now our objective is what is the total return? So we need to maximize the return. And these are the constraints we have. Customer 2 cannot provide more than 5 projects. So it has to be less than or equal to 5. Customer 1, we have to execute at least 4. Customer 3, we have to execute at least 3. Sustenance have to be at least 4. And our budget is overall less than 1 million. Everybody aligned, understood so far? What are the budgets, constraints we have? Yep. Any questions on what we are seeing on the screen? Either it's not clear or totally clear. There's only one way.
It's clear.
Everything is clear.
It's clear.
Okay, so assuming everything is clear, now let's solve this problem. So you can use solver, go to solver. Where is my screen here? Solver. Oh, there you go. So what's my goal? My goal is to maximize T6. That means this is the maximum return, right? So my goal is to maximize return. So what are the variables here? I have to decide the number of projects that I need to do for each of these customer 1, customer 2, customer 3 and sustenance. So what are my constraints? So my constraints is C2 is less than or equal to 5. Okay. Now another constraint is C1 is greater than or equal to 5. Again, C3 is greater than or equal to 3. And my total cost.
Suresh, I'm sorry that I'm interrupting you here. So, we have decided like, C1 should be greater than or equal to 4, right? I guess you have given the constraint of 5.
So is it okay? Sorry, my bad. Okay. So let's edit that. C1, 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 O3, right? Change. Thanks for pointing it out. Yes, C1 should be greater than or equal to 4. You are right. Okay. So we defined O3, which is C1, P3, which is C2, Q3, which is C3, and we have to add for sustenance, right? So add a constraint. So this cell has to be greater than or equal to 4. Add. Now what else? What else are my constraints? So I also have to say these cells are integers, right? Because I'm not going to do like a half project. So I have to make sure they're like, okay. Now what else? What are the other constraints we can think of? I have to introduce the constraint for budget, right?
Budget.
So let's just see what happens first. Now, if there is no constraint on the budget, obviously it's gonna, okay, let's just see. Is this an optimal solution? Excel actually solved. But is this an optimal solution?
Below budget.
And you see the problem? Objective cell do not converge because the solver can make objective cell as large or small when minimizing as it wants because we are not putting any constraint on the budget. Okay, now let's add one more constraint so that we can get
the solver is out of the box available in Excel or?
Yes. Just
Okay.
search in Google. If it is not enabled, right, you have to enable one setting so that it will be enabled by default.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, now you put this constraint also and you constrain this saying less than or equal to 1000. Okay. Now solve. Let us see what happens. Now you guys see, so the solver is also saying solver found an integer solution within tolerance, all constraints are satisfied. Right, so now you can execute 9 projects for the customer 1, 5 for customer 2, 3 for customer 4 and sustenance 4, and you are still within the budget and you are getting the maximum return of 4 projects. Is that clear? So leverage these quantitative skills, technical skills, right, for as a project manager to make an informed decision. Are we good here? Shall we move on to the next one?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Let's close this. Okay, any other volunteer who can read this for me?
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You are assigned as a program manager for a critical program in your organization. This program has high stakes for the organization with penalties for any delay. Project must be completed within 1 year, beyond which a fine of $1 million will be levied. Business is prepared with an estimated budget of $2.5 million and target gross margin of 60%, annual expected revenue of $6 million. The project can be executed in various approaches. Project can be executed in various methods, off-the-shelf product and configure to the customer's requirement. Start with minimal features, but the product margins will be impacted. Design and develop completely in-house.
So now as a program manager, so you are responsible to suggest the best approach out of the three approaches. That means, shall we buy the off-the-shelf product and configure, or start with the minimal features, or design and develop completely in-house? So what's your recommendation?
Off-the-shelf product and configure to the customer's requirement, in the sense that you configure based on the delivered outcomes and delivered functionality of the product
Okay, so how are you able
to
to
be
make
risk
that?
covers.
Now, how are you able to make that recommendation?
Yeah. So I have seen this in many projects when we do extensive requirement gathering, say for cloud projects. Most of the projects fail because of extensive requirement gathering, which cannot be met by SaaS applications. So SaaS applications have delivered outcomes and delivered KPIs. So we have to align the customer's project objectives with the delivered KPIs of the product, and also the requirements or the information gathering that we do should have a scope boundary within the features and functionality of the product. So when we are able to meet the features and functionality of the off-the-shelf product, we are able to have a successful go live along with change management and business impact initiatives.
Okay. Now here is the additional data. So again, as a project manager, again, we need to make a recommendation, but we need to make sure that we have the right information to make that recommendation. Now look at here, right? So if you go off the shelf, we are saying we can finish the project within 9 months. If you go minimal features, we'll finish it in 8 months. In-house, you'll need the full 12 months. Budget, you're going to blow up the budget because you are buying something off the shelf and there's a recurring cost involved. Minimal features, you'll finish it within 2 million. In-house, you'll finish it within 2.5 million. Now feature coverage, it's only 95%, 80% and 90%. Expected margin impact, because we are doing for each of the product. So the margin impact is 8 basis points, 20 basis points, and there is no impact on the margin here. Deadline miss probability, yeah, it's less because you are going to have everything off the shelf, right? So it's 10% probability where it's 20% and 25%. Now look at the metrics, the outputs, right? Because you are doing within 9 months, you are getting some revenue in year 1 itself. And your gross margins are relative, obviously. There's a penalty exposure, potential penalty exposure, because there's a probability of missing the deadline. So there's a penalty exposure, potential exposure. What is the total cost of the project, right? Year 1. So we are spending 2.8 million. Are we meeting budget? No. Are we meeting gross margin target? No. Here, are we meeting budget cap? Yes, right? So here, yes. So if you look at, there's a trade-offs that you have to make, right? Are you guys with me? So there is a trade-off that you have to make here,
Yes.
right? And there is no easy answer as well. There is no easy answer as well. I mean, given the complexity and probably past experience may drive you to some decision. In general, there is no easy answer as well. Assuming everything is brand new, clean, right? So there is no easy answer as well. Now that's where we as a project manager, along with the organizational initiatives, organizational strategy, right? So we are taking the call. So where we are good at, where we are not so good at, what are the current priorities that we have, especially like the scenario that we have seen earlier, right? We have different portfolio of projects that are happening. We have different portfolio of projects that are happening. So if you have to prioritize, maybe option one is the better because this is a project that's not planned to start with. Maybe then off the shelf is better. Now we have in-house capacity. So we want to leverage, we want to have full control. Then probably this solution is better. So it depends. Conclusion is the approach. Will take the stage, strategy, risk appetite, and so on. Now, one technical aspect that we'll learn here is scenario manager. Now, the scenario manager is a very important aspect. Like, for example, just take an example, right? Off the shelf, we are having, right now, we're at the baseline. Let's say there is a different parameter. Now, let's say you want to show the off the shelf with a different parameters. Okay. See, off the shelf, let's say we finish it within 6 months, right? 2.26, and now we are having the coverage of 90%. That means we are reducing the scope a bit, right? Now, and we are reducing the margin a bit. Now, what is so you see it, right? Now the numbers change. So you can leverage this scenario manager to play different scenarios. And you can hit a summary button to actually summarize everything. Like, for example, if you do summary, right? So summary, scenario summary. Sorry, I have some another macros in the sheet, which is actually taking the time. This scenario summary is not what taking the time. I should have done that. Okay. So while it is doing the summary, any questions? Are we clear?
So far, so good.
Okay. You see in the bottom right, the data table, I have one data table in the next sheets, which is actually consuming the time. So that's what driving the Excel. There, finally. You see the different scenarios that you built off the shelf scenario one, minimal baseline, right? In-house baseline, off the shelf scenario two, off the shelf scenario three, right? Whatever the ones that we built, you can actually see a summary. So you can create that.
The screen we don't see fully here. Yeah, now it is okay.
Now it's okay?
Yeah, it's fine now. Yeah, we can see now.
Yeah. Okay. So the scenario manager is a powerful tool for you to play different scenarios and see what is the outcome. Now, however, this is only a two-dimensional, right? Now we are able to only do like a two-dimensional. So you're not able to do multiple things. Okay, let's take this scenario. Let's look at this one. So we'll develop on this now. Any other volunteer who wants to read this? No one?
I can, if that's okay.
I can
Go
also
ahead.
read Suresh. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Project budget 800. Number of resources is 10. You want me to read the whole table, right?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Yeah, please.
Resource cost per month is 110. Project duration 6. Resource cost for 6 months is 660. Overhead cost is 40. Outside services is 120. Project cost is 820. Project margin is minus 20. As a program manager, you are tasked to improve the margin by finding the right balance of resource costs and outside services.
Okay, so thanks, Ashish. So now if you see here, right, resource cost is nothing but number of resources into cost per month, because we are seeing 6 months, right? So that's the overall cost. And overhead cost is 5% of the revenue is the variable. Outside services is 15% of the revenue. So the total one cost is $820K, $820,000 or $820K dollars. The margin now is minus 20. Now you have to present a scenario of what would be the margin. Let's say if I change this to, let's say, 12%, 13%, 14%, the revenue, outside services. Also, if I have to negotiate with the supplier, saying that, hey, resource cost, can I have it now? I cannot afford 11. Can we have it at 10 or 9? What would be the scenario? How would we do this? So basically, you might have heard the term, right? Sensitivity analysis. Sensitivity analysis. So I want to fill this table automatically. Let me put it very simple, plain. I want to fill this automatically. Wherein on the top, what you are seeing is the resource cost. So our baseline is 11. Our baseline scenario is 11 and the current scenario is showing about 15. Now I want to prepare this table automatically. Any takers? How want to solve this? Okay, so let me show you how to do this. So the simple way is, now you put the final value into this top left cell. You select this data, what if analysis, data table. Now your row variable, right? Where is your row variable? Row variable is this, and column input cell. Our column input cell is this. Sorry, row variable is this. Column input cell is this. Now click OK. Now you see that, right? Your baseline number, as you can see here, minus 20 is here. Okay, let me just highlight this for you. 20 is here. Now let's see if your resource cost is $10,000 instead of $11,000, and you are still at the margin of 15%, you will now start seeing a positive margin. And similarly, if you reduce it to 8 and 11, so you are actually making a project margin of 192. Whereas if you go in the other direction, so you're actually having a negative margin. Your margin gets worsened. I have simply applied a conditional formatting. There is no logic there. It's just a simple conditional formatting just to show the intent, right? The heat signature, that's all. Any questions? Is it simple?
Can you repeat that once again?
Okay, I'll repeat this once again. Okay, let me undo. Okay, I'm just deleting this, okay? So here you just refer to the actual source where you want to improve, what you want to simulate or what you want to test, right? Now let's just do some minor change. Now let's say it's 11, right? Now I will change this to 9, 7, 5. I'm just doing a step change. You don't have to really do a specific number in a specific increment. Even here, I'll just say 15, right? Let's say I'll just do 13, 12. Let's say I do this 10. Oops. 10. Let's say I'll do this at 5%. I'm doing different scenarios, right? Now let me just do data, what if analysis, data table. So what is the row input cell? Row input cell here is defined here. Column input cell is here. Hit OK. Now you could see here, right? This one will match with your baseline because your 11 and 15 are your baseline. So this minus 20 is your margin as per your baseline. Now each cell reference is basically depending on if your resource cost is $5,000 per month and your outside services is only 5% cost rather than 15% of the revenue, you are only accounting for 5% of the revenue, right? Then your margin is actually $420,000. So this gives you in a single snapshot, in a simple click of a button, gives you that entire picture of what is your ideal. Let's say your target is, let's say $100,000 as your margin. So maybe you can play here. Maybe you can negotiate to $9,000 and then maybe you can play around 13% or 15%. You are good. So you can find the leverage where you can negotiate so that you can reach to your sweet spot. Questions? Clear? Clear as a mud?
Indeed. Thanks, Shreya.
Okay, shall we move on to the next one? Now again, this is again a two-dimensional measurement, right? We are just only playing with two variables here. We are only able to play two variables here. Okay. So any volunteers for me? Don't have to read the table, just read this scenario.
You have presented the schedule to your leadership team. Your organization knows that there is variability in each of the module execution based on the past experience with similar modules. What is the confidence level in completing this project as per the proposed schedule?
Yeah. So now you presented the schedule and you are saying that you will finish this project in July 2024. Okay, this is actually prepared as, some time ago, but now how confident are you on this date? What is your probability of hitting the date given a variability with different tasks in your path? So how would you solve this problem? So at what confidence level can you say this 725 2024 can be met? Is it like 80% confidence, 100% confidence, 50% confidence level? What is your confidence level in meeting this timeline? Any ideas how we solve this?
I just read in PFMP there is one efficient frontier, one topic where it was showing there, like, such type of scenarios, it is telling if you take such and such variable, what could be your forecast. I just read one of the article recently. Frontier.
Okay.
It's called efficient frontier.
Okay, so let's see if that matches with what we are going to discuss now. Have you heard of Monte Carlo simulation? Anybody heard of Monte Carlo simulation? I see a few thumbs up. Anybody else? Monte Carlo simulation. So what we do is, okay. See, for ease, right, what we do is actually at an operation level, you can define different variability profiles, right? Let's say, for example, no confidence. That means it could be off by plus or minus 100%. Let's say you have very high confidence. That means it could be off by plus or minus 5%. And you probably would have a scenario wherein you are giving a best estimate. That means it cannot be any lower. It can only be worse, right? So that means these kind of things. No confidence skewed to the right. That means you can only go take more time. In fact, most of the schedules that I saw, right, everybody will prepare like a success-oriented plan. That means this is the best case scenario. This is the best schedule that we could do, right? That's what comes out first. Now, what we do is we apply. Again, there is no specific logic to say that, okay, you have to apply, you have to have a predefined profiles. But I saw a few organizations wherein they have these predefined profiles. And then for each of the task, right? For example, now let's just me hide this so that you can see everything in one place. Now you look at, right, for each of the tasks, I am applying a different variability profile. So what does this variability profile do? It is determining for this module what is the worst case scenario and the best case scenario, right? So your expected completion time for each of the module lies between these two. Okay, now example, you estimated it 15 days. In the best case scenario, you will probably finish it in 14.25 days, whereas in your worst case scenario, it could take 16.5 days. So that's your limits across each. Now let's say you want to change this to different profile. You just hit this one, it automatically change. Okay. Now most likely is you are falling somewhere in between, right? So your number will be somewhere in between. So what we do is we apply a factor called random function. So random function is simply your optimistic number plus a random number into the difference. That means difference of pessimistic and optimistic value. So always your number will be somewhere in between these two. Are you guys with me so far? Again, there are a lot of tools that are available to do this, like Crystal Ball, Minitab. You could do a lot of tools, simulation tools, which you can do this. But again, getting those tools will be a challenge, right? Sometimes not everybody has the luxury of accessing those tools. Now you can simply use this Excel to generate it by yourself. Are we clear so far?
So, how were the columns R and S arrived?
Yeah, column R and S is a simple formula wherein we said, now based on this profile, right? Now what is this profile? Say, let's say number 10. Number 10 variabilities are 10% and 5%. It could be minus 5% and plus 10%. That is a profile for 10. So it's just looking up that number 10 and it's just applying the.
Okay. So for module 1, how did we select 10? Based on our past experience?
That's your past experience. And I also see now this is where you go to your PMO, right? Your PMO has access to the repository of projects that are done over the past many years. They have that statistical analysis, like the standard deviations, all those things that are available to them. They'll be able to tell you for this kind of project or for this kind of module, our variability is so and so. So typically PMO can give that input.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
So
now,
these
once you
pessimistic
do this,
and sorry, Suresh. So these pessimistic and optimistic percentages are also defined by the PMO?
Ideally, yes. Ideally, yes. But let's say you don't have a structured PMO. Let's say PMO does not have this information. So it's up to you. Either you take a consensus from the team, that development team or SMEs, hey, what is the variability that we could expect here in this scenario, So you come up with that. You have to take the judgment, either a team decision or let's say PMO probably will have this information.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
Okay. Now you have this random scenario, right? So what do we do now? What's next? So now what we do is we run this, say 10,000, 5,000 simulations.
Excuse me, this expected variability is the number of days, which I understand. Duration, that is expected variability, 10 days for first module 1. So on these two figures, we have to work out pessimistic and optimistic values. And then most likely there is a formula in Monte Carlo, whether that can be used without using the tools.
No, okay. That you could probably do that, but the intent here is to make sure you typically have a schedule like this, right? So we are trying to build off of the schedule. So we don't want to complicate, right? So it should be a structured approach, what we are trying to do. And let me take you to the next steps. Then it actually makes more sense. Now, this scenario, what we are doing is, now let's say we do a 10,000 simulations, right? So let's say we run 10,000 simulations like this. So how do we do these 10,000 simulations? It's simple, right? I do this 10,000 simulations. Now what I do, okay, first I have to do is I have to refer this cell to here. Okay. Now I'll go to what if analysis, data table. I'll just say column reference is this. Okay, now you see here, right? Okay, I just need to change the format of the date. Okay, any date is fine. That's okay. So now you see here, when I run 10,000 simulations, it is telling me that these are the possible dates that you would hit your project based on the variability that you apply. Now, in the interest of time, I already ran this. So once this is done, right, what I will do is I'll just simply create a pivot table. How many times, let's say June 9th has come up? How many times June 10th has come up? Right? How many times? And the beauty of it is, right, you are seeing a typical bell curve. It's not exactly a bell curve, but yeah, more or less it's a typical bell curve. When I put all the 10,000 simulations into this graph, right, now you are seeing a typical bell curve. Now I added a simple curve to sum up to the 100%. Now let's say if you want a 80% confidence estimate. Now you look at what is the 80% confidence estimate, right? Roughly you can see, right, 80%, 8.9 or 8.8. August 8th, you can have a 80% confidence level. Whereas where did you start? You started at 725. July 25 is your estimate, is what you're given. Now if I ask you to give me a 80% confidence level estimate, your number is actually about August 8th or August 9th. And let's see where your estimate where does your estimate fall into? 725, right? Now let's look at 725 here. So 725, if you look at 725 here, it's only about 50% confidence level. 725 is carrying only a 50% confidence level. So we can structurally build with a proper input, right? You can actually give the estimate the predictability of your schedule, confidence level of your schedule. So when you present this kind of assessment to your leadership, right? So you can actually confidently answer what is your confidence level in the schedule that you presented. Is it like a 30% confidence level? So that means it triggers the risk mitigation that needs to be planned for the project upfront. Hey, now if let's say we are signing up for a schedule that is like a 30% confidence level, just taking an example, right? Let's say we're signing up for a schedule as a 30% confidence level. The amount of risk planning that you do is different for a schedule that you are planning for 80% confidence level. Right? The contingency funding, there are a lot of things that you could trigger, you could ask for. So you can use this as a leverage to ask for that additional support, rather than simply going that, hey, this project is at a high risk or this project is not going to meet, right? You can quantitatively answer the leadership team and ask. Any questions?
You see this, what you have discussed about the software modules. I am from steel plant and I dealt with construction projects where we build the different production shops for our steel plant.
Correct.
Whereas this, okay, I understand contingency reserve and risk analysis and all, but these data will be applicable for construction projects also, the way how you worked on.
Absolutely, sir. In fact, if you ask me, it's actually more easier to apply in construction compared to software, because software, right? I'm sure some of my friends are going to come back and say, I'll run all these software modules in parallel. I don't have to do this in a sequential mode. And if it is in construction, you can only get to some point only once a foundation is done, right? There's a sequence that we do in construction. It's actually a lot more easier to do in construction compared to software, if you ask me. So it certainly can be applicable anywhere.
But number of variables are more in construction project because of weather,
that's fine.
Site
That's
availability,
fine.
Equipment, people, material availability.
That's fine. See, that's where your variability, you can summarize all those things into the variability here. What is your variability of, let's say plant 1, plant 2, plant 3, plant 4. Each plant has a different risk, different complexity, right? You can define the variability here. Plant 1 is at a high risk because there's a lot of resource shortage, or let's say there's a lot of structural issues or whatever, right? So you can actually put the variability here that reflects that risk involved in that specific segment or site or whatever you want to call.
So this expected variability is available with PMO office, which was generated over the years of experience.
Yes, if you don't have it, then you have to take a decision as a team. As a team, you can take the inputs from the team and define that variability. That's the best approach you can do.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay, so we are actually running out of time. So we will do one last one. If time permits, we'll go to the next one. So this is a classic scenario. Okay, so how do you track your project spend and represent visually? I want to tie you guys with any tools. So everything is pretty simple, straightforward. So how do you track this? How do you just pictorially represent? What do you do? How do you pictorially represent to your leadership team that here is my monthly spend? What is your plan? How did you actually spend? And what is your rest of the month's potential spend? How would you represent visually? It's a simple, typically this is how the graph is generated. So what you do is you just simply create a cumulative numbers and then you create a plan. So this is your plan. This is what you have consumed so far. And this is your estimated spend for the rest of the period, project period. Again, very traditional project management that we are looking at. Okay, there is nothing, no rocket science here. Only thing that's important here is to make sure we represent it clearly and show where you are going to land up. So like, for example, your estimate was $2,698 or whatever, right? Now you're actually end up spending at $2,853. Now you're trying to inform the management upfront, leadership team upfront that, hey, I'm going to be off because you see the trend. I'm actually going this trend. I continue to go this trend. I don't see a recovery path. I'm going to spend $200,000 more. Now it's much better that you inform ahead of time rather than going to the last minute and say, hey, I blow up my budget. So that will not fly very well with your CFO as well as your leadership team. I know we are at time. A couple of minutes for questions.
In construction projects, we normally face this problem. Whereas, can I ask the question?
Yeah.
We normally face this problem because it is construction on the field. Cost anyhow, we are given a fixed amount of budget and some management reserve is kept at the corporate office. But we are, as a site manager or project manager, we are given some contingency fund. But because of weather conditions in India and other skilled labor availability and all, we always face this problem. It's, mainly our main problem we face is adhering to the schedule and completion target date. That is the main thing. And mostly our steel plant projects target is always by March end we have to complete. We have to start up and commission the plant and start the production, so that management will get that depreciation benefit and all. So this, okay, so as a senior project manager, I also face this problem. And this, as you said, expected variability. This is always a problem. I don't know how this is can be handled, because sometimes the data may not be available all the time in hand. But as you shown in the software tools, those tools are not available for us.
No, which is the reason why I'm demonstrating this with an Excel, because I know
Yes.
this limitation happens with a lot of folks. So that's why I'm demonstrating this with an Excel. So you can do this with an Excel itself.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Suresh, you did simulation for 10,000 times, right? Was it the last date which you simulated, or did you take, what variability did you take for that simulation?
No, the variability is applied at a module level. Okay. The overall schedule comes up to the based on the variability that applied at each module level. So there's no specific variability that we applied at the outcome. Okay, let me share my screen.
And then why 10,000 times?
No, 10,000 times, because so that you get a finer representation of the numbers. You can even do 100 simulations, 500, 5,000, whatever you like. But if you do 10,000, right, you get a lot more data points. So you have a better estimate. Like, for example, you will have a bell curve. You'll get a good bell curve if you have to put that way.
Can you explain this a bit more? The 10,000 times, what exactly was that?
No, the reason why we are doing 10,000 simulations is so that it gives you a better estimate. When I say better estimate, better predictability, right? So you get a proper bell curve, a normal distribution, so that your estimate of 80% or 50% gives you a much precise number. Compared to if you do 10 simulations, right? So you are probably still a lot of variability may be there. If you do 100, it gets better. 500, it gets better. So the more number of simulations you do, the better refined model you'll get.
Yep,
Yeah.
got that point. But what is the value which we are simulating? Is it the end date or?
Yes, we are simulating the end date. Correct.
Yeah, dear Suresh, this is KV Subramaniam.
Yes, sir.
Just I want to supplement for what you told. I want to supplement.
Yeah.
In PERT CPM, generally the time taken for a task is calculated as optimistic plus pessimistic plus 4 times whatever you told the other likelihood divided by 6. Then it will be fit into Monte Carlo. Then whatever you said, this analysis, that will help, and PERT CPM will help one of our colleagues or co-participants asked in civil engineering application for bigger projects where parallel bigger modules like construction of building is going on, construction of a swimming pool is going on.
Yeah.
Each are big modules, but they go parallel. Whereas in our software method, whatever you said is correct, because we don't have brick and mortar solutions. Always ours is more seasonal affected. Okay. Just I want to supplement that. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Thanks for everybody.
Yeah. So I'll ask our team to share this spreadsheet with you guys. I am trying to add this into the chat, but I'm getting a challenge. So I will get the certificate, Excel sheet shared with you if you like. And again, the intent is to make sure the science part of project management is what complements your art part of it. That means your science is strong. It makes your job easier when you're trying to convince. The art part of it gets a lot easier. So it's always not like art will overtake, right? So the foundation has to be good. Then it's your art skills can kick in to get a meaningful outcome.
Mr. Suresh, we normally face this problem in monthly project review meeting with our
Correct.
CEO. Because ours is, when a plant, I'm constructing a plant means it is civil, structural, equipment design and equipment arrival, erection, testing, electrical, automation, everything is included. So they normally ask how confident you are in this date you are completing.
Exactly.
And sometimes they don't give this thing. You have to complete by March this year. So that is always a challenge for that, because as you explained, so many tables and so many simulations and all those, the CEO, our CEO, steel plant CEO, he doesn't like to listen all those things because he is gone by the corporate office. They give the, okay, this is the date, this is the team, and this is the fund, and you execute it. So how confident you are able to do this job by this day? Because budget is already fixed and quality you have to maintain, otherwise equipment will fail.
Yeah.
So this is a very frequent question we face from the CEOs. And
Exactly.
you relevantly, you said that expected variability and all how to calculate.
Yeah.
Just for information,
Just to
out of my
add to what you said, right? The targets may not change. Even the CEO, as you rightly said, they'll not try to listen. But at least from a project manager point of view, you are going to communicate to them that, hey, I know you asked me to complete this by end of the year. However, the confidence level with that date is only 50%. I'm telling you upfront, right? We'll still try for that end of the year milestone. What are the milestones that they're asking for? However, we are going to upfront communicate that it's a 50%. So that if something goes wrong, right, at least you have a leverage to go and ask for some help, or saying that, hey, we already made it very clear that there's a risk involved. It's only a 50% probability of success with this time, with this milestone. So the communication is pretty important. At least you may not be able to change the milestones, but at least you communicate upfront what is the risk involved.
Right.
Any other questions? If not, we can pause here. So I'll have
Suresh,
Rasakna share you the spreadsheet or an email.
Suresh, I actually have a question.
Yeah.
So, the logics which you have applied for each of the projects, how do we need to come to that derived stating like we need to use this theory, Monte Carlo theory, or a bell curve thing? The thought process, how the thought process has to be begin.
No, how the thought process has to begin. Okay, rather what I would say is you plan well, right, upfront. So this is part of your planning well. So you make
Right.
sure that you understand all these simulations, variability, right? And then you present the confidence level, all those things. Now you have done the proper exercise before you get into the execution. Rather than getting into the execution, finding out that, hey, we estimated this, but it happened this. So you don't want to have this back and forth thing. So now this is the important part of that's what I'm saying. A good project manager makes sure that all these bases are covered at the start of at the kickoff meeting or the initial gated review itself. You make sure that you check these boxes. A lot of it obviously happens, depends on the organization culture, which is very important, because many organizations that I saw, they just think that project managers are meant for, okay, you prepare a schedule, presentation, right? And then you facilitate meetings. That they think that is like a support function, right? Just a support function. However, there's a lot of difference with respect to true project management, what it involves, right? You are actually facilitating the decision making, problem solving is where project managers drive, if you ask me.
That is very insightful, Suresh. I came across not many things like that. It is a book of reading thing that happens, but might be this analysis definitely helps me out in leading the projects in the coming days.
Sure, sure. Again, in the future, if you run into any issues, if you need some help, any specific cases, right, feel free to reach out to me so we can work out a solution.
I can do that. Thanks to this. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Yeah. I'll drop my LinkedIn profile on the chat so you guys can connect it, and I'll hand it over back to Rasagna.
Yep. Thank you, Suresh. Thank you so much for your great wisdom and all. So, as part of a PMI small token of appreciation from PMI Parallelity chapter, has honored you a thickest of 5 planted trees on your name in Sundarbans National Park. Thank you for growing knowledge and sustainability with us.
Thank you.
Why always Sundarban National Park only?
No, we already we
But
planted
every
few
time
in
you say
Sundarbans.
Sundarbans, I don't know whether it is getting planted or not. We don't know.
No, it's planted, so you can find the certification link in the below, right?
Everybody talks about Sundarban, Calcutta, West Bengal, but we
In
have
fact,
many areas in Hyderabad surrounding also.
In fact, starting this year, PMI is actually Pearl City is actually started doing for Telangana region. So we should start seeing that very soon.
Yeah, and also in our previous the conference, South Asia conference, also we started in Telangana.
Okay,
Yeah.
I shared my LinkedIn profile, so please connect with me here so we can ask any questions if you need any questions.
Yeah, hello Rasagna. Hello Rasagna Varma.
Yeah.
My name is KV Ramana. I have sent a reminder mail about the non-credit of the PDU for the last session attended on 20th September. But so far, no action has been taken from your end. Kindly look into it.
Yeah, sure.
I will tend to events at the rate PMI.
Sure. Yeah, sure.
Kindly look into it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, hi. Actually, this is him. So I also did not get the PDU. So I tried to send them emails twice, but I did not get any response.
Sure. Thank you so much. So I'll remind my team to look into it, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So, is it possible to share this recording and maybe a copy of this Excel so that it will be helpful for our learnings?
Yeah, sure. And also, this complete session will be uploaded to the YouTube, so you can also go through the YouTube and you can check it. After a few days, it will be uploaded to the YouTube. Okay.
Sure. Thanks.
This is the social media handle, and you can scan the QR code and you can follow the pages there. You can see the YouTube link also in the same QR code.
Is this Excel sheet also will be uploaded?
Excel sheet we will be uploading in the comments. If else, we will be sharing it in the LinkedIn and all. Okay. We will try to pin the Excel sheet in the YouTube comment section or in the YouTube description.
Rasagna, we can email them also.
Yeah, we can. Yeah. We'll email you with the YouTube recording and all the things.
Thank you.
Thank you, team. Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye. See you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, everyone. Happy Diwali.
Thank you. Happy Diwali.